Hello, everybody. This is 12 Gauge, and I have Jeff here with me. So I'll let Jeff introduce himself.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff H. As most people know me, and I go by here on the internet. Not that it's leaving out so much that you couldn't figure out my last name, but maybe you could have done. 12 Gauge is better. I'm assuming Gauge is not your last name.
No, it's not.
But I'm still calling you Mr. Gauge. Is that all right?
Well, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Mister, I still haven't gotten to the point in my life where I can accept sir yet. When
Yeah,
somebody says yes, sir, or no, sir, I don't know. I just can't. I can't accept that yet.
makes you feel a little old.
Oh, yeah, just a little, just a tad.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, everybody,
I know that feeling.
this is our Monday night podcast. I invited Jeff up. He's probably going to be a fixture on a lot of these because, it's a lot better to have somebody to bounce ideas off of rather than to do things alone. I will do some individualized stuff, with different topics and things of that nature, but I enjoy speaking with Jeff. So until he gets tired of me, I guess, then we'll keep doing this.
Yeah,
Um,
no, so far so good. I enjoy talking with you too, Mr. Gauge.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, tonight I want to start off the podcast by talking about relationships. I don't know, Jeff, if you've had success in relationships, or the question I want to pose out there is: do you think there's ever coming back from somebody cheating on you? Let's say you were the cheater, or somebody cheated on you. Were you
Right,
able to ever repair the trust that it took to get back together or to move on? You
right.
want to say anything
I
on
mean,
that?
I've never really had that situation. I think I've known some people that have had marriages that have had that be part of their dynamic,
Hmm.
but and they've managed to to get past it. But yeah, man, I think when it comes to forgiveness like that, it's just I would imagine that'd be a hard thing to just forget.
Right.
Um, you know, um, but But man, if we're going to talk relationship stuff, maybe I should get my wife down here. She'd be better to talk about, or at least she ought to be sitting here. It's like you know, my lie
Yeah, kicking
detector.
you under the table or something. Yeah, that's
Right.
not true. That's not true.
Tell him about that time. Why didn't you
Yeah,
tell him about that time?
yeah, exactly. The reason I thought about this, I was listening to, I mean, I'm not trying to copy another podcast or anything, but it got me to thinking that, how they always say once a cheater, always a cheater.
Right.
And in my realm of business, I always tell the clients, if you'll cheat on your relationship, you'll cheat on other areas of your sobriety, or you'll cheat on your finances, or things of that nature. So it got me to thinking, they say that cheating is not something that's done out of opportunity. Do you believe that?
Hmm. Yeah, because you know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a this. There was a guy I heard give advice to these high school teenagers about politics,
Hmm.
and they call it Missouri Boy State is what they call it. So basically, these high schoolers go out, they can listen to and meet like governors and senators and really, if they're thinking of their career path. But I like this one guy gave this advice to these high schoolers, and he said, decide today where you stand on things so that when you're asked in the future, like, well, what about this, what do you think about this, you've already made the decision, you already know. So I think when it comes to like cheating, I think, and in it being like an opportunity, I think
Right.
if you're smart, you know, you remember your vows and you don't ever
So,
forget them, and you imagine, what will I say if I'm in a situation where that an opportunity comes up like that. And yeah, you just so I think if that's where you are, that's your mindset, and that's the commitment you've made, not only to your
mhm.
your spouse but to yourself. Because I tell you what, I mean, one woman is enough. I don't need any more. I don't need a harem.
Yes, that's
Not at all.
true. That's true. You know, you did bring up an interesting point there. There is obviously a difference between marriage and just casual dating or being exclusive. But it seems like the people in this generation they don't identify the differences. Like you could be married and still get angry with your spouse and go and do something and say, "Well, we broke up," type crap. You know what I mean? Like they don't really value the vows like obviously we did back in the day.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
I
think
mean, it's
I think I don't know. Well, keep going. I'm on the edge of a thought, but it's not quite there.
okay. Well, well, I do see a lot of that. It's like, well, I wasn't happy with this one, and I'm gonna break it off, and I'm gonna get with another one. I've already have this one on the back burner, or something of that nature, and you just you just jump from one to the other, and it's hard to keep up sometimes with people. Like I have females on my social media page, and they'll be jumping from male to male, and it's every other week, every other month.
Right.
This one's in a relationship with this one's single, did, and then you get all the, well, all men are this and all men are that. All those disclaimers to just kind of give them an out for their pain. They're secretly lashing out on social media by putting all of us guys in one little category.
Right.
All men are dogs or
Don't you
this.
think it's can it be a little bit like you got some people like me, I'll buy a car that I like and I'll
Mhm.
run it till it just won't run anymore because that's my commitment. But then you got some that well, I'm going to lease a car because
Right.
I'm going to drive it and then after about a month I might be tired of it. I'm going to go to a different car. I'm going to trade it in for another one. So I wonder if it's has a little bit to do with just your mentality. But I think you have to think about how the other person must feel. I mean, if from
Right.
your own perspective, how would you feel if you have somebody and you just can sense or well, they're not in it for the long haul. They're in it for today,
Right.
maybe the next couple months, but they're looking around and they're a better offer, and especially I imagine if you combine that with if you've got low self-esteem, I mean, that's just going to feed into that because you're probably
Oh yeah. Oh
gonna
yeah. You're on to something right there. Keep going with that. Keep going with that. You're
yeah,
on to
because
something.
you start thinking low of yourself and instead of thinking more confidently and then your spouse is or your partner is going to pick up on that as a weakness and it probably
Right.
very irritating too. It's like you don't want somebody that because it doesn't add up because this person has chosen you and
Right.
it's like you can't for some reason choose yourself is to
Right.
be worthy of this position that you've been appointed, you could say. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so thinking confidently and just put I guess you got to just put that out of the back of your mind. See now I'm an old dude now so I don't and I've been married a little bit here so um, I don't I don't think the way I did then and have the same worries I did then. But I still worry that, what because I feel very blessed. I feel very blessed with my wife
Okay.
Kathy, my home, my dog, my cats, my kids,
Right. Right.
what I do for a living, the fact that I figured out YouTube and have a camera and a microphone and
Yeah.
and now a new friend. Well, not necessarily new. We've
Exactly.
known each other a little bit,
Yeah,
when
we've
when the
known each
live
other
shows.
a little bit, but this is the first time we've really collaborated more than once.
Right, right.
We seem to feed off well with each other. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
You're the type of dude if you were at a party, and you got those people that you can say, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah, hey, man, it was freezing yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, the weather, man,
yeah.
the weather." But then you got other people that like you'll pose a question about some uh, something to think about and something
Right.
to ponder on, and then that will lead to something else, and then something else. So that's why I've always enjoyed listening to your shows because it's like that.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoyed listening to the sound of my voice, as you can tell. I
Right,
used to
right.
do groups for 3 hours a night. Like I had outpatient services, and we did groups 3 hours a night. And talking for 3 hours is no big deal for me. As you could tell last night, our live
Right,
went
right.
4 hours. So
Could have gone longer too, right?
yeah, I mean, I can fill up space. I can just keep it going. I could probably talk all night, but that's one of the reasons that I enjoy getting on these podcasts, especially on the days where I'm not talking true crime, is I can pretty much be myself and just talk openly. I don't have to worry about, okay, am I saying something that's gonna jeopardize the investigation? Am I saying something, that's gonna come back to
Right,
haunt me?
right.
And I really enjoy the podcast atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's great when people just get real and they just
Yeah.
are themselves and don't try to pretend to be, somebody else or um, yeah, I think there's a freedom and a peace that comes from being able to just open your mouth and whatever comes out, comes out. And again, it goes back to what the advice those kids were given. It's like decide early who you are, how you're going to be, how you're going to be. So where do what things do you stand on, you stand up for? What things don't really matter at all? What are the important things in life, and what are the lesser important
Well,
things? And
those are great questions, Jeff. Those are great questions. Those are great directional programming. But I don't know about you, but if somebody would have came to me and asked me those things at my youth, I wouldn't have had a freaking clue.
right,
My my big deal would have been like, well, I just want to get laid. I mean, excuse my language, but that's I just want to get laid. I want to get drunk. I want to, I want
right,
to have a good
right.
time. As far as everything else, I don't have a clue because all of a sudden you go from being sheltered by your family, and going to school.
Yeah,
That's your biggest objective. To okay, now I got to get a job. Now I got to decide whether I want to go to college. What do I want to do for a living? Am I still gonna be as carefree as I was in high school now that I'm out of high school? And
right.
I just chose to get the partying out of the way very early. Woke up a decade later, and I was like, "Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, time flies, doesn't it?
I just started this. You know what happened? You know what happened?" So yeah, I mean,
So
back to
did
the
you
relate.
didn't go you came out of high school, and did you just kind of go like for just look for a job, or
Yeah.
you yeah, I was kind of the same way. I mean, I for me, I luckily, you know, in high school they had a TV production class that they
Oh, okay.
offered. So glad I stumbled upon that because it was 3 periods. It was like the first 3 periods of the day. The TV studio they had over there for the high school was better than at the time, back then, or near around that time, Ithaca College. I had a friend that I was seeing out there at Ithaca College in the
Okay.
TV program. So this high school TV studio rivaled or surpassed that, I think, in many ways. And so it was a
Wow.
really good program, and it's where it all started for me. And I got a job right out of there with the video engineer that managed or that maintained the facility.
Right.
Got to know him, and he taught me how to solder XLR audio cables,
Oh,
connectors
wow.
together, how to hook up all
Yeah.
this equipment and gear, and so yeah.
That's
But
nice. That's nice to be able to, pick up on that stuff at such an early age.
but my college experience is really just 1 year, not
Yeah.
even 1 year, one class, an English class that I took at a community college, and I just thought I'm not college material. I guess is what I decided. I had found what I wanted to do. I like making videos. I like
Hmm.
photography. I like the visual elements, the audio visual, the sound, playing music. So luckily,
Okay.
I stumbled in a lot of the things that I love to do that can create a paycheck, or also
Of
the things
course.
I'm
Of course.
passionate about. So yeah, again, I say I'm very blessed with that because I don't. Well, plus I don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah, I understand that, man. Well, me, I was more of an athlete all my, as long as I could remember, I played football. That was my thing. I would just probably like a lot of other athletes thinking, well, I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to, hopefully eventually end up in the NFL. Well, due to my drinking and everything, it took a lot of my natural ability away. Took my quickness, speed, all that stuff. Got injured
Mm,
in my senior year. Had my knee scoped and stuff like that. Well, I played semi-pro. I was gonna walk on at a university over here, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, for some reason, my pride wouldn't let me just go out there probably 75% versus, the 100% that I had up here.
right.
I could never overcome that injury mentality. Does that make sense? It's
You weren't
like,
injured, but you had the injury mentality.
yes,
What you mean? Yeah.
it's that's the hardest thing that they say is whenever you do get an injury, the hardest part is getting over that injury mentality that you're going to hurt yourself. You're not
I see.
100%. You're not as strong. You're not as quick. And even though I didn't think about those things while I was playing, it still hindered me because I wasn't as reactive. I was more um, I was just kind of not as reactive. I was a step slower because I was scared of being injured again.
Right.
So I
But
played some.
you did have some kind of injury.
Yes, I had a knee injury. They had
Oh,
to
okay.
scope my knee, tore some cartilage, ligaments.
Okay.
They had to go in there and
And that
solder
takes a
me,
while, right? How long did it
solder
take to
me
heal?
back up.
Yeah. But the
Well, I I injured it on a Friday. I got it scoped. I think that Monday. I rehabbed all week. And I was back on the field the following week.
oh, okay. Okay. Well,
I
that's not as
mean,
long as I thought it might have been.
yeah, the next day, you know how they wrap I don't know if you've ever had surgery, but they wrap it in all this stuff, all this gauze and stuff, and then they put that big old brace on there. Well, I went to the trainer's office. He's like, "Well, we got to get this stuff off." He's ripping the freaking because there was no stitches or nothing, but I mean, it was still
Right.
tender. He's ripping the brace off. He's unwrapping it. He said, "Okay, take a deep breath in." Took a deep breath in. He pushed my knee back. Oh,
Oh,
good God. I mean,
wow.
I was 18 years old. So I was like, I mean, at this point, I was like, I'm going to play this next week, which I didn't play. I was dressed, but I didn't play until the second half, and I didn't really play that much.
Yeah.
But
Did,
that rehab in that week was hell, man. It was hell.
did you pull out the oil can and just put some oil in your knee just so you're ready
Oh,
to go? You
pretty much. Pretty much. He said, take a deep breath. I'll never forget it. Take a deep breath in. Took that deep breath in, and as he goes, okay, I'm going to bend your knee, blow it out. And he bent my knee, and I like hyperventilated. It felt like, you know what I
mm.
mean? It's like, that pain was just so intense.
Uh, I mean,
But
did he know what he was doing, and it
yes, he was
worked?
a trainer. He was a
Okay,
trainer.
okay.
And
It
I
sounds
said,
like
are
he
you
doesn't know what he's doing.
I said, I didn't understand it either. I was like, "Are you gonna re-enter it doing this?" He said, "No. There's a difference between if they scope it, it's all internal. You don't want the tissue to build up. You don't want any blood clots or anything like that. So you got to keep it moving."
Right, right.
So that was his rationale. I don't know if that's true or not, but how I bought the T-shirt. So
Right, right.
you know,
You were sold. Well,
yeah,
that's pretty cool though. I think yeah, I never got into sports at all. Um I mean, I like to watch some sports, but to
yeah,
be honest, I even when I watch the Super Bowl, I watch it for the TV commercials.
Right,
And sometimes I'll
exactly.
skip it because I know I can see the commercials on some website
Right.
somewhere, you know. But I'm amazed at people who can like watch sports and then keep like statistics in their head. It's like, oh yeah, you remember him like 7.5 years ago? This is what
Yeah.
his rating was. And it's like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you
I mean,
remember
I'm
that
more
stuff?
into the college football now. I mean, I still enjoy the NFL stuff, but I go to the college football games. I'm a big Texas Longhorns fan. So I go down to Austin and watch them play, and it's just a
Right,
different atmosphere. It's very exciting from start to finish. It's not, like a high school game or anything like that. But it took a long time to become a spectator. It's something that you love so deeply. You know what I mean?
right.
It's like being a race car driver, I guess, and then all of a sudden have to set that adrenaline aside and be the tire guy changing the tire on the
Yeah.
on the sideline that the car comes in. Not as exciting.
Or like I know when playing guitar, to go watch somebody else play is great. I mean, I love to watch it,
Yeah.
but you know that desire to like, oh, I want to be up there and I want to play and
So how'd you get into that, Jeff? Give us a little short
into
synopsis of that.
guitar.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, guitar is I had an uncle named Gary. Have an uncle. He's just not here anymore, but
Yeah.
he took his life when I was in high school.
I was sorry to hear
And
that.
yeah, it was pretty tragic. He was heavily into drugs. Started with alcohol, I think. Um, in the end, I think his the battle that he lost was with heroin, and but but it was an awful day too that it happened because he had shot himself, and
Mm-hmm.
then his girlfriend had come out of the shower, I think, and found him like that. She got on the phone to the police, and when the police were coming up the steps of the apartment, they heard a gunshot, and she had taken her life right then and there too. So it was a
Oh
double
my
loss.
goodness, that's
And
terrible.
yeah, and he had I think that was on a Tuesday morning, if I remember right, because I think it was Monday night, the night before. He had called my mom and he said, "Hey, tell Jeff to watch this show that's on like TV tonight. It's about drug addiction."
Right.
And he just wanted the fact that I was on his mind the night before he did this. Just it was one of those things, and I tell you what. I mean, as tragic as it was and as awful as it was, I got to thank him because I was surrounded in high school by musicians, partiers, and I was the soberest guy in there. I mean, I might as well have been wearing like a priest collar or something. But but it was cool because I had great friends. I still have them. They're still great friends.
Right.
And they didn't judge that. That's just who I was. And but anyway, so Gary taught me to play guitar. I
Okay.
remember he wrote down like 7 chords on a piece of paper, and I learned them. And then I came back to him and I played them. And then I was amazed because he could turn his back on me and I'd play them and he'd say what I was playing. I was like,
Oh
man, you can
wow.
tell what these are just by listening to them. That's cool.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome.
But he was good. Oh my gosh, he was such a good guitarist. I've got a couple recordings that I made. One recording I made was him and I were up in my room, and damn if I didn't have my guitar was an electric. It was too close to the mic and it was drowning his out. And I still kick myself. Working in the audiovisual field,
Right.
like
Right.
having the audio levels be that far off where he's the one I want to hear. I don't want to hear.
Right.
I don't want to hear
Right.
me. But yeah, to do that again, I would have definitely been like, you sit next to the boombox. I'll sit over here. you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So that's how.
So
Yeah,
did
that's
you
how it
have
started.
any rock bands growing up? Like, did you play in any bands, any
Yeah,
talent shows, anything like that?
yeah. Actually, in high school, we played the talent show. Um,
Okay.
we played an original song, and then I think we played "Sunshine of Your Love." I think was the other one we
Okay.
played. Yeah, we did an original that was kind of country-ish that I had made up. Might have been three if I remember right, but maybe it was just two. But yeah, we
See,
played in high
I
school.
was into the '80s hair band during back then. You know, did you have the whole long hair and all that jazz going on, or was you?
No, not really. I
No,
mean, my hair was a little long, but not really long. Yeah,
yeah, you
you would
didn't
have
have it
never like
sprayed. You didn't have the Aquanet and everything sprayed up like all the women did and everything else.
no, no. I've always been my whole life. I comb it back straight,
Yeah.
split it down the middle, and then part it. And that's it.
Okay.
And it's been that way ever since. I don't know any other
Yeah.
hairstyle,
Oh
but yeah,
man, I
you
had.
wouldn't know me for as a musician if you saw me just as like a
Yeah.
rocker or something. But
But I mean, I've seen a lot of people that you would think, hey, they're not. You know, they're carrying a guitar out. And you're like, there's no way they're gonna be, any good. They plug that thing in, man, and it's like magic hit their finger. They just get going,
yeah,
and it's just amazing to watch people to play instruments. I mean, I have a buddy that plays keyboard or used to play keyboard. He had a, a table saw incident and you
mm.
know chopped off
Oh
part of his
no.
thumb. So he doesn't do it as.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That's really funny story.
I mean, I'm not meaning to laugh, but
I know what you mean. I was.
I mean, if you can't laugh about
Right.
tragedy again sometimes, but
No,
um,
laughter's the best medicine. So yeah.
I tried the guitar route. I was gonna me and just like the summer of '69. Me and my buddies were gonna start a band and become rock stars, and
Right.
all
Right.
that. And man, we didn't even
So you
make it.
played a little bit. You started
I was
playing.
gonna be the lead singer because I didn't have
Oh.
the I mean, most of my buddies had been in band. I had a guy that was a drummer, and he'd
Uh
been
huh.
in band, so he knew what he was doing. The other guys knew how to read music and all this and that. And unfortunately, we were young and we just weren't very disciplined, and it just sounded terrible. And we started arguing. We started the bickering even before we had the money, the fame, and the success, and the women and the drugs and everything else. We hadn't even made it off the freaking um,
Right.
out of the garage studio, and we're already arguing about this song going to be played and that song going to be.
But in your land of make believe, you were there, and you were.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
we were in an arena where we were arguing backstage about what our playlist was going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's. I
crazy
mean,
when you.
it's great to have dreams, right?
Yeah,
But I guess balancing reality with your dreams. Um, and confidence. When you have big dreams, that means you probably have also big confidence in, or
exactly.
you're able to to handle the failures that come and just keep on going. It's just try.
Yeah,
Okay, this didn't work out, but let's keep it going. So
I got the concert bug. Um, Probably in '88, I went to see Damn Yankees and Bad
oh
Company.
yeah.
That
Oh
was
okay.
like one of the. I mean, I had seen Bon Jovi when I was younger, probably 17 or so, but that was my first real adult concert, and I got the bug right off the bat because I mean, Half a Night Ranger, Ted Nugent, super
Yeah, yeah.
band, and I really didn't know who Bad Company was, but they had just released that album, Holy Water.
Oh, okay, okay.
That album had just been released, so they were touring off that. And I was like, man, this is so freaking awesome. And after that, I was hooked. I saw so many rock bands after that, bought the t shirts, all that good stuff. And as you can tell on my page, I have quite a few,
All right. So you got Breaking Benjamin.
yeah.
That's a show you went to, and it's all
Well, I've seen a lot of them. I've seen Breaking Benjamin. I've seen Five Finger Death Punch. I've seen, um,
Five Finger Death Punch. Those. There's a couple bands where when their album comes out, I don't need to read anything. I don't need to
Yeah.
check with anybody. It's just okay. Buy that. I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm taking it up to well, of course now I got iTunes and everything is just always there. But when I was buying their
Exactly.
CDs, it was like I don't even need to think about this one.
Yeah, you
Also,
can't get it in. You can't get it in a player fast enough because you just know it's going to be awesome.
you know that what's that one tune where he's got a recording on the album where he calls into an answering machine with the idea for the song, and he's basically I guess kind of hums it, sings parts of it. I think
Huh.
it's at the end of the CD. Is like you can hear the. I think it's the actual like he's calling the other band members like, "Hey guys, I got this idea
Oh
for a song. It would
wow.
go like this." He basically has it all the lyrics, and then but then you can go to I think track one. I think that's how it is. I think it's pretty cool. The very end track is
Yeah,
the idea, the seed for the idea, and then
I'll have
track
to
one is
look
the
that up.
actual
I haven't
song.
listened to them in a while.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll figure out which song that is because I don't. I'm not sure which album is on because I've got them all, but I don't remember
Yeah, I
which
love
one.
that band. I've only seen them once, but that was the most amazing show. Ivan Moody, he puts on a hell of a show. Like, man,
Now, I've never heard of Ivan Moody. I have to
that's
look
the
him up.
lead singer of Five Finger and Death Punch.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know him by
yeah,
name. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
That's his name. I mean, he put that handprint on his face, and he comes out and yeah, I was hooked with the concert bug, and I've seen many a concerts. I've seen, I saw the Up in Smoke tour with Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg,
Yeah.
Eminem, Ice Cube. Those West Coast rappers. I saw them in 2001 in Dallas. So I've
Now,
seen.
when did you graduate like high school? Because I'm sensing that
I
I'm a little
graduated in
older.
'91.
Okay. So you're like 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
That's where all this gray is coming
Yeah,
from.
it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. 91.
Yeah, I
So I'm
was even
50.
looking up like the
I'm
Holy
52.
Water Bad Company album is yeah that's the newer singer that came in because I was gonna
Yeah.
say I'm forgetting his name, but the original Bad Company singer who was also in that band Free, he
Okay.
was in that song All Right Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
All Right Now,
Yeah.
um, but he's got that distinct sounding just the rock voice that everybody envies and
I mean, I could put that Bad Company album, that Holy Water album, and I could work out to it. It's so. I mean, even the slower songs, you can just he grips you with his voice, like you say. Not very many people have that ability.
right.
Well, I know the Brian Johnson for AC/DC, which is the
Yeah.
newest singer. I really can't get behind him because I can't really understand half of what he says. I don't know if it's because he's intoxicated or if
Yeah,
that's
or maybe what? Now, where's he from? What's that accent that he's got? Because maybe it's like a really thick,
I
whatever the
don't
accent is
know. I mean,
combined.
but the music is awesome, but you hear a very scratchy person sing.
Yeah, I heard
But they,
he was having some issues with his voice. I
yeah,
think almost to the point where he might have had to step down. Um,
yeah,
which I hope he doesn't because you know, I mean, Back in Black, that whole album is just, you
yeah.
know, um, yeah. I was the other night I was making a playlist. I hadn't made a playlist in iTunes for a long time, and I just called the playlist Rockers. I just wanted some really just hard rocking songs. Five Finger Death Punch is definitely on there.
Yeah.
Dio, Black Sabbath,
Oh
um,
wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pantera is in there. Um, but it's funny as I start making a playlist like this, it's rockers. As I'm going along, I come across songs that I hadn't thought of in a long time, and it's like it's close enough. And before you know it, it's like it's just all my favorites. They're
Yeah, it's a
all thrown in there.
bipolar. I have probably about
Yeah,
7 playlists that probably have the same songs on them,
yeah.
different playlist names. You're just like, man, I like this song. Let me put this in here.
How about
This
like
is kind of.
Scorpions? You like the Scorpions and
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Ramstein? or Stein. I don't know if it's
I've never
which is
really
pronounced.
listened to them, so I don't really know.
How about
See,
Tool? Do you like Tool?
yeah, I've listened
Yeah,
to Tool. They're not bad.
we saw
Seven
them in
Dust.
concert. I got I was going to buy my son tickets for his birthday, I think it was, to see Tool, and I hadn't bought many concert tickets before, so I think it was Ticketmaster. I went on their website,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I knew it was at 10 a.m. And it was 10. It clicked 10 a.m. and I saw the ticket thing spinning, and I got my tickets. I could see, and I thought, let me send those away. I'll try again, see if I can get better. That was the dumbest thing I ever did, because then all I got was worse tickets, and it just kept getting worse and worse. But long story short, I ended up going to their website. I somehow stumbled on it, and it said they had VIP passes
Oh
available for the
wow.
show near us, and I thought, man, these are like $500 each, but I'm sure we'll never forget it. And
Yeah,
when you
once in
get
a
the
lifetime.
VIP passes, they take away your cell phone from you when you go in, so nobody can make
Oh,
movies or record. And then you go and you sit on the what are you the is it called the Concord or the concourse, where you walk around, and like in an arena with a sporting event, it's where you get the food and all that area where
okay,
everybody walks.
okay.
They had set up about 30 chairs, maybe 50.
Yeah.
That's how few people got the VIP passes. We got up there and we sat in the second row chair. So he is like, the guitarist is like uh, 3 feet in front of my face,
Oh
and I'm
man.
looking right at his fingers. And he basically took the amplifier off the stage. They brought it up. He set it up right there,
Yeah,
and he played like two or three of his songs right in front of us. And it was just the coolest thing.
that is
He's such a
awesome.
cool dude. Very talented. You know,
Yeah.
he was working on the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park movies. You know, doing
Really?
like claymation, and well, not
Yeah.
claymation, but animation and
Yeah, yeah.
modeling. Very talented dude. And you know,
I
their
didn't know that.
videos. He's very involved in their videos. His wife is an artist too, and involved in that. But
Do you like corn?
you know, I'm not too familiar with what's one of their biggest songs. I'm probably familiar
Um,
with like that one, but that's might be it. I got iTunes
Adidas.
open.
Adidas. They have a newer one called
A Freak on a Leash. That's I am
yeah,
familiar with
Freak on
that
a
one.
Leash. I'm not a
Didn't
big corn fan, but my friend is, and their T-shirts are cool. Some of these bands I'm not really a fan of, but their T-shirts are cool. They have some good merchandise.
Yeah, you gotta wear
Yeah,
clothes. That's a
yeah, that's
thing in
true. That's true.
society.
I mean, I have a bunch of T-shirts. I have a bunch of concert T-shirts that are just in my storage right now because I moved out of my condo and I'm in a transitional phase. So I have a lot of my stuff in storage, and so a lot of my T-shirts are over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you ever did you ever get to see Van Halen before Eddie Van Halen passed away?
No, I
Yeah,
wish I would have got to see Van Halen.
yeah. I got
My
to see
uncle
them
got.
twice in my lifetime.
My uncle went to see them a lot. They used to have a thing called the Texas Jam here in
Uh,
Texas,
uh-huh.
and it was in the. I guess it was at the Cotton Bowl or whatever. But he used to go every year because his favorite band was the Rolling Stones, and he
Right,
used to
right.
come. They used to come all the time, and he did see Van Halen. I mean, old Diamond Dave,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was a hell of a showman, wasn't
yeah. I never saw him with Sammy Hagar, but that's probably okay. I think I always lean towards the Van Halen with David Lee Roth.
he? Yeah,
Although I got to say, those last, because we saw the last tour that came through, and David Lee Roth. I mean, he's a cool dude. I think I love to hear him talk. He just tells great stories. He's
yeah,
very funny, but he is kind of an old guy now, and it's I just feel like you know that's the unfortunate thing for a singer is like Eddie and his guitar.
yeah.
That guitar is not his guitar playing was not hurting at all. But when it
Uh,
comes to hitting those notes that Dave chose back in the day, can't get those notes, now. So that's got to be a
yeah,
hard realization and something to accept.
it's sad. You talking about that. I mean, I've seen people critique Motley Crue, Vince Neil, how he can't hit those notes anymore.
Right.
Axl Rose with Guns N' Roses. I've seen, TikTok videos and stuff like that where they're singing, and I'm like, good God. I went and saw Jack Russell's Great White
Uh huh.
and Dawkins and some other band. And, in your mind, you're expecting the younger version, and here come these old dudes
Right.
like us. Here come
Yeah.
these old dudes doing everything but wheeling out in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? With a
Right.
walker or something, and you're like,
You got your you got your oxygen tank. Yeah. you know.
you're like, who is playing? Where did they get these guys? A local nursing home or what? I mean, you're like, that doesn't even
Yeah.
look like a rock star. I mean,
Have you
the
seen
story.
Angus Young
Yeah,
from ACDC? I was surprised he has let the gray just come on out. And
yeah,
but man, he was doing a solo. He was doing a guitar solo. Just watching it recently, and he's on a circular stage. I think that raised up a little bit. He's in a circle, and he's
yeah,
playing, and all of a sudden he just falls down on his back. And looking as old as he does, I thought, oh
yeah.
crap, what happened? Paramedic, get up there, help him. No, he was playing while on his back, but the way he fell,
Yeah.
it looked like an old guy just fell down.
Yeah, that's his signature move, right? To fall on his back and then start turning in
Spinning
a
around
circle
and
as he's playing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He
But he's
broke a
still
hip.
good. He's still good.
He
Yeah,
broke a hip.
I heard Eddie Van Halen had like I think knee problems or hip problems from all those jumps that he would do.
Yeah.
Just like you were talking about with the sports stuff. I mean, you get those
Yeah.
injuries. David Lee Roth too. He used to do the splits and jump from the drum riser.
You know Mick Mars for Motley Crue, right? That the
Yeah, yeah.
guitarist. Man, he's looked like Dr. Death for like 30 years at
Yeah, it's
least. I
kind
mean,
of kind
he's
of
like,
hunched over and
yes,
stuff,
he
and
he had like spinal bifida or something. But he's had it forever, since they got big.
right, right.
But he literally just stays in one spot and strums the guitar. I mean, like you said, it's all right here.
Yeah.
It's not really, you got a
Well, see,
belt.
see what you did. See what you did right there with your fingers. That's why I say don't, when you were because the way you were talking about how you tried guitar, the way you said it, it's like, well, I tried it. That's done. We'll never return to it. But I just saw what you did with your fingers there. You have fingers that, when you got all 10 fingers and they can move like that, you have control over them. You're wasting time if you don't like. Well, at least go touch a guitar tomorrow, the next day,
You
maybe
know
next
how
week.
many I bought two guitars, two amps in my lifetime. And for some reason, I mean, maybe having someone like you who would be patient and show me, for some reason, like, let me get on camera here. Okay. Well, let's say I'm left handed here. I would,
Right,
it's like my fingers all get in the way when I'm trying to shift notes. You know what I mean? Like, it
right.
just, they
That's
don't,
normal. That's normal. You have
they
big. You
don't
have kind
really,
of big fingers. I mean, some
yeah,
people have long, slender piano fingers.
yeah,
But
they
I tell
like,
you what, I've seen all shaped fingers from big to small, able to do it. My friend from
yeah.
high school that I played in a talent show with, he always called them sausage fingers because they were big. But man, he pushed through, and he is like he is one of the best guitarists I know. He hasn't touched it in a while, and I hope he decides to get back on it because he had the tendonitis surgery and everything, and apparently it was a success from what I understand. But okay, you've had the surgery. I think you've healed. All right, come on, you got to get back into
Yeah,
it because
yeah,
I
get
I
back
love
on,
playing with him.
get back out there. You're right.
Yeah.
You
But I think
know,
too it's got to be rewarding for musicians like famous ones that are getting old. At least they have they are leaving a mark in history. Like that song Back in Black, AC/DC's Back in Black will not be forgotten on the planet Earth ever, I predict.
No,
Unless
I
the
don't think.
planet would have to go away first
Right,
before the song
right.
would go away. So,
Well, a newly inhabited alien would probably stumble upon an old Walkman with an
right, right.
ACDC Back in Black cassette because that would be the only thing that would withstand anything. Push
Yeah,
play,
yeah.
and all of a sudden you hear Brian Johnson's raspy voice belting out.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah,
Yeah. The it's kind of like that movie Wally. Did you ever see Wally,
yeah,
where it's a little robot was cleaning up the planet so that the
yeah.
humans could return? Yeah, I could see them like looking around, aliens finding a Walkman. Actually, there's a really good Rush song from 2112. I don't know if you know that album, but it's
No.
basically an album where music has been eliminated in society by the government's choice. And this guy finds a guitar in a cave or something, and he starts messing with it, and he tries to bring it back into society, and they try to squash him, and quiet
Wow.
him and say we don't need any. This is just a waste of time, is one of the lyrics. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little statement on like on government and just keeping us moving and doing what we do. And so
I mean, during the Cold War, like, as I was graduating and stuff, most of the music was political. A lot of the lyrics, once you got past the band that were just about partying and women and, all that stuff, there
right,
was some bands that were really politically minded in their music lyrics. And, I love a good story when it's told with guitars and, like you take me through the journey. I'm a visual person. So, you take me through that story, I can visualize what you're playing. You know what I mean? Like
right, right.
sometimes, like I've always wanted to go to a planetarium where they're playing the Pink Floyd stuff and like
Yeah,
and like watch the stars as they're playing, um Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall or whatever.
right,
I bet
right.
that would be amazing. My friend that I was telling you that played the keyboard, he said he did that in Fort Worth, and he said it was amazing. He was
Yeah,
tripping on
I bet
acid
it
too
was.
at the time. So I mean, what? I bet it was awesome, but I mean, I bet the acid really
See,
enhanced it.
that's the kind of thing I did when I didn't do in high school. So I was the sober one. My
Yeah,
friends would be tripping on acid and doing all kinds of things, and I would have a laser, and I'd be pointing at the ceiling, or I'd be pointing it through like a piece of glass so it refract in
yeah.
different. And so basically, I was their light show, and surely we'd have
Okay.
we'd have music on, but yeah, I mean, it was funny to watch them. They'd be all silly and just
Yeah.
stuff. No,
I
nobody
mean,
ever got too like out of control.
you always need that guy in the friend group, no matter what people say. You always
Yeah.
need that type of individual. He's the grounded person. He's probably going to be the sober one talking to the police. He's
Right.
gonna he's gonna be driving you home. He's gonna be able to pretty much keep you out of trouble to an extent. Because when you're sober,
Right.
you're looking out for your buddies and you care about them and things like that. So, I mean, I wasn't always a drinker. So, up until 18, I was a sober guy. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I'd
Right.
watch my buddies sit there and act like fools and beat up trees and all kinds of crazy, you know. And I get it. I get what you're saying, and it's. And I thought, well, you can't beat them, join them, and it
I
cost
had
me.
I had a friend of mine that once came to a party that the band I was playing with was playing at, and he didn't know anybody there. He's from like Southern Virginia, very redneck.
Yeah,
Um, he came to the party with me, and I'm up there trying to play music. All of a sudden, I can hear him. He's gotten very drunk, and I hear him saying things like, "Who wants to box? I want to box somebody." And I'm thinking, these are this is not that kind of crowd. This is not that kind of party. And here's this redneck. He wants to go out and back the house, box somebody, and I'm
Good
like, oh
Lord.
my gosh. Yeah, but yeah, you got a bunch of drunk friends and you're the sober one. It's really is like, you're just like you're trying to herd cats and or something, or
Yeah.
watch a bunch of children, make sure they don't run out in the street. And
So here's a $1 million question, Jeff. I know you're a married man now, and it's just out of curiosity. Is being a guitarist or in a band, does it really get you the chicks?
no, no, that is never for that is never for me. Now maybe maybe early on when I was younger, I just didn't play the cards right. Could have capitalized on it, but
But you know what they say, you're a musician that just normally gets it comes with the territory.
yeah.
See,
It's
if I
funny.
would have
There
been
was
a musician, there would have been all the hot chicks, and I'm not trying to be ugly here, but then I would have had the leftovers in the back, and be like, come on in, bring some more liquor.
well, how about you with like being like on the football team? I mean, that doesn't that
Well,
come with the
yeah, I
cheerleaders and all
mean,
the women and
that is true. I mean, to an extent, everybody knows who you are. You get special treatment. I mean, in Texas, football is king. So,
yeah,
you get special
you're a rock
treatment from
star.
pretty much just like all the movies you watch, the Friday Night Lights, the Varsity Blues, all that stuff. You get that special treatment. I mean, there's a lot of things that I shouldn't have gotten away with. The police around town, the sheriff used to patrol. And if they
Hmm.
saw you out walking or, creating havoc or whatever, they just pick you up, give you a lecture, and take you home.
Right, right.
Can't do that nowadays. They don't care who you are. They don't care who you are. But yeah, it came with the territory. You went to the parties, you went to you did all that stuff, and just as you walk in, it's like, hey, here I am. Hey, look at
Yeah.
me.
Now, how different do you believe it was? Because back then, like whatever you did at that party, it's not going to end up on YouTube. It's not going to be the only people that know about it are those that saw it, and it's just going to be their memory of it. It's not.
Right.
Let me show you a
Well, there's
video
a
of it.
lot. We had a video camera, um, and we started this in high school. I had a buddy. He was in the AV department.
Uh
He
huh.
was he'd shoot the videos for the football team, for the games and stuff. Well, we had a video camera, and he hung out with us, so he was pretty much documenting the first reality shows.
Oh yeah. Oh, so
So if
there's
anybody ever finds those tapes, I mean, there's some incriminating stuff on there. It is wild. I don't know what happened to those tapes, but if they ever find them, there's a lot of incriminating.
so basically you're probably not running for president anytime soon. That
I
they'll
hope
dig those
not. I
up.
hope not. I mean, but you think about it, like like I was just talking about music, and I was saying that we were starting a band. So I used to like get the video camera and I'd point it at myself and I had a stereo. And back before even karaoke was a thing, I'd sit there and I'd play the song, but I'd turn it down where you couldn't hear the voice as much and you just
Uh
heard the music. And I'd be belting out
huh.
the lyrics, pretending that I was, on stage covering this song. Just trying to memorize when to come in, how hard to come in, when to back off, because I didn't
Right.
know
Right.
anything about music. I had never, I mean, I was in a band probably, when they handed out those little recorders that in sixth grade that they gave you to play. You know what I'm talking about? The
Oh,
little
little
plastic
micro
recorders,
recorder.
the little
Oh,
plastic,
the little flute looking
yeah,
things.
the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
flute. That's the last time that I was ever in a music class like that. So I didn't have a clue, but I was thinking, man, if we ever get this band thing going on, the chicks are gonna be like, I don't care if we play 3 songs. I'm gonna be in rock star mode. I'm gonna be Axl Rosing it. I'm gonna be dousing myself with beer. I'm gonna be
Now I'm picturing you. You're thinking about all these chicks with while you got the recorder. Is it that
no,
that? Yeah, I don't think the recorder has the same effect.
no. The recorder would just I don't know. I felt awkward with that thing and learning to play it or whatever. I didn't do any of
Right.
that. But yeah, we were trying to become famous, and had YouTube been around, there would have been a lot of videos uploaded from our journey of
Right.
debauchery. I love that word, debauchery.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like you just because my niece and nephew, they ask me now, they're like, "Were you ever wild?" Or went, "No, no, no, no."
They're like, but Uncle Gage, we found this tape that somebody
Yeah.
put up on YouTube, and it looks like you. It sounds like you.
Oh, I was
Did you
gonna
play
tell you.
football?
Yeah, I was gonna tell you. When we were talking about the hairdos, back then I had the spiked hair.
Oh
I
no. Were
had
you
a
like Vanilla
mullet.
Ice or
I had the mullet in the back. It was long.
yeah.
This was shaved, but the back had multiple colors in it. Like it had blonde, it had orange, it had all kinds. That was it was gonna be my stage
Right.
persona. Like I was really getting into it, you know what I mean? But my friend, they just weren't as dedicated, It's like we'd say, "Oh,
I'm
we're gonna
telling you, it's not too late. It's not too late.
we're gonna practice tonight," and they'd be like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah," and well, let's drink instead, and then we'll practice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
then
that'll
you're
do it.
drunk. Then you're drunk on the mic crying. Like sweet November rain.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really think you should get back into it. You could find because they have like open mic nights, here and there. You could find, and a lot of times you got musicians that go to open mics that they can play but they can't sing, and they,
yeah,
in a the thing is about a singer that comes in, it's something about the just having the lyrics in there that makes it a legit song. Because if you're just going to play an instrumental,
right,
it can feel like it's just a little repetitive, and it's like, okay, now you take a solo, okay, now you take a solo, but you get a vocalist in there, and then you kind of can separate it into chapters, like, oh, there's the first
right.
chapter with this little piece of a story, continues on, and um, yeah, I used to sing in another band. Just, I had about 5 or 6 songs that I sang. I did like
Okay,
Jailhouse Rock, Elvis
okay,
song,
okay.
and we did something by the Beatles, and I did a Chuck Berry, the one about this about the seatbelt. The seat he took his girl up to they were going to go up to this romantic place, and he
Oh,
couldn't get
I,
the
I
seatbelt.
found
He
my
couldn't get the
thrills
seatbelt.
on Blueberry Hill or something like that.
No, man, it'll come back to me because
Yeah.
I'm mixing. I know I'm thinking of another song that is similar title, but it's uh yeah, because there's that one Cadillac doing about 95. It's not that. It's not that one.
Yeah.
It's man, I'm getting old. I can't remember. I used to, yeah. So I had a couple songs that I would sing. It was cool. The fact that I was singing them was really thanks to the guitarist in the band, my buddy Pat.
Yeah.
Pat basically, well, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Pat said, "It's like you can't sing because you keep saying you can't sing." And I'm like, all right, I'll take that challenge and I'll try.
Yeah.
And and even Yoda says there is no try, only do. So
Right.
I decided to do it. And damn if it did start getting better and easier and easier and fun. And then you start singing together and you start singing some a little bit of harmony parts like in a country
Right.
song,
Right.
and he takes the main note and you like sing the third, and it's like, oh, that sounds cool. So
Yeah.
But I haven't really sung too much in a while. Maybe I need to get back into it a little or something. But I
I mean,
encourage you to go find an open mic somewhere.
my friend and I, we were the co-founders, I guess, and we used to write the songs. I mean, I wrote poetry, so we'd kind of take some of the poetry ideas into, formulate into a song or something like that, and we were pretty, we were pretty well into it. We just didn't have we didn't have the instrumental part. We had the idea, we had
Yeah.
the front part. We just didn't have the drummer that was really, you know, dedicated and things of that nature. You're in love with the idea of potentially being a rock star, but you don't know what the dedication it
Right.
takes to actually be a musician, because if you're a musician for life, just like you're saying. It's not something that you forget. It's not something that just leaves you unless you lose your mind or whatever,
Right. Right.
but you know, if you're just doing it for certain things, well, that's going to come and go, especially once you achieve those things, and then you're going to give up on it. And part
Right.
of the
Right.
reason that I guess I gave up on it so easily, I should have started on an acoustic. I love acoustic music. I love acoustic guitars. I love acoustic sets. I should have started on an acoustic.
Yeah.
But I went right into the go big or go home. I'm going to get this.
Yeah, because you said you bought a couple amps, a couple
Oh, yeah.
guitars, and
Oh, yeah. And, you know, not knowing what you're doing, you're just kind of strumming along. You're trying to play by ear. You know, I wanted to learn that intro to Sweet Child of Mine, the one Slash plays.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And you see him strumming it, and he makes it look so freaking easy. You're just like, how difficult can that possibly
right. Yeah, when somebody else makes it look so easy, you think, oh, that
be?
must be easy then.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
I mean, they have so many things nowadays. They have like there for a while they had that Guitar Hero and they had other things. They even have programs now that you can um see the guitar and a note will pop up a color and you press that and the sound will come out.
right, right,
So
right.
you can teach yourself what the notes are. And I
Yeah,
thought, man, that is awesome because not only do you, if you've never done it before, you don't know what a C flat or a C. I mean, I know I'm butchering it right now, but you don't know what the notes are. You don't have
right,
a
right.
clue, and especially playing the guitar because you're thinking, okay, well they're plucking this string. How do they get that note to go from here to here? How do they go from deep to high or back? High to low. How long?
Right.
How do they know how long to hold it? All that stuff. So it's
Yeah, it's an endless stream of questions of
yeah,
like
yeah.
how, and then you just slowly start attacking it. Yeah, I played guitar from high school to like my early 50s, just by ear. I had the
Hmm.
pentatonic minor scale. That's basically all I had, and I tried to make it work for everything. And it was funny because I go to friends' houses to jam, and because I only had that one scale and it was a minor scale, I didn't think about that too much. But that word minor was critical because some weekends I go and I jam with some friends and I'd be playing really good. I thought this was fun. The very next weekend, same guitar, same amplifier, and nothing was working. And it was all because I didn't realize at the time I'm trying to take a minor scale, and then that next weekend they're playing songs in a major key, so I need a
Right,
major
right.
scale, right? And I didn't get that, and
They're like Jeff's off key, man. He's
yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't until it was like my early 50s. Like I said, I went. A friend of mine said their band used to host a open mic at this
yeah.
bar restaurant. He said, "There's this guy we met, this country musician, has moved into the area. He's military and he's looking for a band. It's just him. He doesn't know anybody around here. He's got some
Hmm.
songs. He basically said he wants to do two shows and he wants to record a couple songs in the studio. He said, I think you can handle it, Jeff." And I'm like, man, country? I don't know too much country. And so, but in the studio, we were recording, and I was trying to lay down some guitar solos. It's like 90, 95% were of the notes were good. It was working, but
Yeah.
that other part of it was just not working. And again, it was me trying to use a minor scale over major key. But you know what's interesting is that these other musicians and other people in the room in the studio, skilled, one's even a teacher, high school teacher, teaches music,
Yeah.
and now I'm not blaming them, but nobody could come to me and articulate what I know now, what I was doing wrong, which was,
Right.
hey, if play a major key instead of the minor key, you'd be fine. If
Right.
one person could have articulated that, but now maybe it was meant to be though, because the fact it was so frustrating, it
Yeah.
irritated me so much to be playing all the way since high school to my 50s and not understand what's going on. I started taking lessons, and I found a guy named Michael Fath, and Michael Fath had CDs out that I had when I was in high school. I used to listen to him and rock to him. He's like an Yngwie Malmsteen and a Eddie Van Halen combined.
Okay.
So he had a little bit of the classical stuff with the rock, and
Steve Vai
Steve
or
Vai's in there.
not
Yep.
or what the what that other one? Stevie Ray Vaughan something.
Steve, yeah, for the
Yeah.
blues side of things. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I started taking lessons from him. It was not cheap. But I saw it on Facebook. I saw he put a ad on Facebook, and he's like, "You can take lessons with Michael Fath in his house, one on one."
Right.
I got a guitar. He's got a. Are you serious?
Me,
So
me, me.
I was like, man, and to watch him play like one of the songs that I used to wear out on a CD right in front of again, it was like watching Tool, when we were second row from
Yeah.
Tool. It's like this is one of your guitar heroes, and you don't really care how much it costs. And but I should have cared how much it cost because I think I ran out of money very
Yeah.
quickly, and it's like
Yeah.
I couldn't keep that going for long. But he was great in teaching me the language of music theory. It's like somebody that it's like trying to be in like El Salvador, where my wife is from, and just have the basics of the language, to then somebody teaching you the language. Now
Exactly.
you're having fun. You're having fun with it, and you're
Exactly.
able to do things that you couldn't do before. So,
That is so awesome, Jeff. That is so awesome. I'm
and
going to
now I
tell
try to
you.
pass that on to others because there's so many other that frustration I had in the studio. I see so many guitarists with that same frustration, and it's like I know what you're lacking. I know what it is,
Yeah.
and I know you're gonna fight me and resist it because you think it's gonna be either beyond you, or you think it's gonna crush your natural voice of music that is just coming from your soul. You're gonna make it
Exactly. Yeah.
too like a cooking recipe versus like just I just add stuff and it just comes
Right.
out
You're
brilliant.
just like, oh, let me help you just a little bit so that this aggravation can leave
Yeah,
and your love for the music can come out. It's like a
but
mental
unfortunately
block.
it right. But unfortunately it sometimes it involves unlearning things that you've leaned on for years and years and
Yeah.
years. And I think it's a good life lesson too. It's like if somebody's trying to teach you something, somebody's trying to teach you a new path. Like you put that bottle down. You don't need to be drinking
Right.
every weekend or
Right.
something. But this is what I know. No. Try try look at my grandchild. They're having a ball. They're having a great time and they're
Right.
sober. It's like, don't you know more than that kid over there? you know, it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
They don't
Exactly.
need a bottle. They need a bottle of water after they've sweat from the
Right.
playground.
Right.
Yeah, but that's about it. So
You know, I'm going to tell you, Jeff. I know I figured out what was missing from that country music. You
what's
didn't
that?
have a banjo. Ding, 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 ding.
Right, right. Yeah,
You know what that's
I had
from,
all my
right?
teeth had all my
Hey,
teeth and the banjo.
you seen
Oh,
Deliverance? Ding,
Deliverance.
ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Can you
He,
imagine?
he
I'd
sure
love to be
does
a
have a pretty mouth.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall when Ned Beatty was reading the script for the first time and
Oh
he
my God.
realizes what's going to happen to him in the movie. It's like, oh man,
Man, I mean, I would ask for a little bit extra money than everybody else. I mean, because
yeah.
squeal like a pig.
Yeah, I'd be curious if he made, because I mean, what wasn't Burt Reynolds in that? I mean, Burt Reynolds is a
Yes,
huge star, so you know he made
yes.
the big change. But
You know, I'd never seen that movie until I was older, but I used to hear everybody, talk about it and talk, they quoted it and, they'd make the little inbred jokes and
right, right,
all that stuff. But I never saw it until I was older. And the first time I saw it, it blew my mind. And that movie was made, what, in the 70s?
right, right.
It blew my mind. Like, who would have thought of a movie like that?
Yeah, yeah. You
I
back
mean,
then they
that,
could make movies that would make you uncomfortable. Now we're a little too politically correct to
I
do
mean,
things. You
talk
know, we
about
were.
go ahead.
What about the movie? I think my wife had never seen Blazing Saddles.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it just happened. I'm just flipping and flipping. It's like, oh, Blazing Saddles. I said, "You've ever seen that?" And I knew it wasn't. She wasn't gonna be able to watch much of it because it didn't take long before that movie was like, this is a very offensive movie. I can't watch this. And it's
You know,
like I had a feeling it might be like that.
back when we were younger, you have those movies like what you're talking about. We went through a phase of Monty Python,
Yeah,
the meaning of life, that type of movies. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
the one scene where the guy's eating at the restaurant, he's like, I can't eat another bite of the big old dude. he's,
Right, right.
he's like, come
Yeah.
on, just a mint leaf. And he goes, okay, why not? And you get that. And as a kid, you're like, or an adolescent, you're like, holy shit, that's hilarious. And you're just rolling. And I
Yeah,
mean, people don't understand where we get our sense of humor from, I don't think, because I mean, some of the things that I see people do,
yeah,
I'll be laughing hysterically to myself in my head, but I'm like, well, this is really inappropriate, Martin, but that is some funny shit right there.
yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Murphy Raw. We used to, when that first came out, we went and rented that at the video store, back then when they rented videos.
Right.
Well, we watched that all weekend. We memorized every word. We sat there and giggled and laughed and rolled. And I mean, I think
What do you say? What do you say, Eddie? What have you done for me
Eddie,
lately, Eddie?
yeah, I'm an American woman, Eddie. You can't treat me like this. And I mean, it was Eddie Murphy was just classic. But I think before then there was like Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip or something like that
Yeah,
that were just as provocative. And here we are, young teens watching rated R
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I mean, we had the Faces of Death movies
Right,
where
right.
the one that sticks out, and I'm sure you're thinking of the
Is it the
one I'm
monkey? Is it the
yes, with the
monkey?
monkey. Yes,
Yeah,
they literally beat that monkey, peeled back the scalp, took opened the skull, and ate the brains like
yeah,
Jello.
yeah.
You're just as a kid,
No, thank you.
you're like, man,
I'll pass.
and yeah, exactly. I mean, you wonder how did we go from that to where we're at today, where you can't even say
Right.
anything that's provocative.
Isn't it weird because we have the delivery method to get every possible movie or thought or video or picture into everyone's screen in the privacy of their home?
Yeah,
But yet so much more sensitive. I remember that Richard Pryor movie. I remember sitting watching that with my grandma, and she was just, she just loved every time he would cuss. It
yeah.
just it I think it was unexpected to her, and she couldn't hold back. She was just laughing. This was just not what she had, she had not seen much of stuff like this. I think this was because I think it was yeah, I think it was her that first got like cable TV in
Yeah.
her home. And
Yeah.
so I used to love to go over there because it was like you could just keep flipping
Yeah,
and
you
flipping
sit
and
there and
flipping.
scroll for days.
It's probably where my like I probably have like some kind of ADHD type of thing where it's like because I do it in the truck. I mean, I put iTunes on and I put a song on, and it's like it's not quite
Right,
done yet, and I'm going to the next one and the next one, and
right.
you know,
Well, he was in a movie called The Toy. I don't know if you remember
yeah,
that movie.
yeah, with
That
Jackie
movie
Gleason,
is
right?
hilarious. Yes. Him and
Yeah,
Jackie Gleason. I mean, that movie just had me rolling. Like all the
yeah,
sexual innuendos, all the
right,
I mean,
right.
it just as a kid, you're like, I know I'm not supposed to be watching this. There's nobody around. This is some funny shit.
How about did you ever see Porky's? Because I remember
Yes.
Porky's was like I think the first like raunchy movie I saw in a movie theater. I couldn't believe like I was finally I guess old enough to go see that with a bunch of friends, and yeah, it was just like wow, this is not the kind of stuff I'm used to being able
Yeah,
or
I I
allowed
didn't
to
really
see.
I didn't really care for Porky's. Fast
Yeah,
Times at Ridgemont High.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That was it. That was a funny movie.
there was another one called The Last American Virgin or something like that, where this
Hmm.
guy was in love with this girl and she got pregnant by another dude and he was a virgin and it was one of those, the guy sells everything to help the girl out and she ends up going back to the dude, that type of movie.
Right.
And that was the first movie I'd ever seen where that happened. And I was like, did that shit really happen? You know what I mean? Like, is there guys that are really that naive and gullible that they're gonna, risk everything for a person who doesn't even care about them like that,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's countless other ones, throughout the years, but I remember that movie.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I still remember like the movies I loved the most were like Star Wars. I
Yeah.
had a friend who worked at a movie theater, and he'd let me slip in free. And
Yeah.
I think I got to see like the first Star Wars movie a couple times from a theater that now they have bands in that theater, but it had a balcony. It was so cool to sit up there in the balcony and just
Yeah.
watch. Yeah, I used to kind of worship those Star Wars movies. They were like it was almost as if they were real. That
Yeah.
you know
My favorite was Return of the Jedi.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
like Star
with the
Wars.
Ewoks and
I like Empire, but Return of the Jedi was my favorite one.
I remember standing in line to watch The Empire Strikes Back for 2 hours. We were outside in the heat and waiting at the mall to get in, and everybody wanted to see it. It was like probably the first or second day of it showing, and I actually had the Empire Strikes Back book. I had bought the
Oh
book, and
yeah.
I thought, and I was never really the fastest reader, but I was trying to read the book before I went in to see the movie,
Oh,
and
okay. To see if the
you know,
book was like the movie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it just, as I read it, it just made me want to get in there more. It's like, oh, this is good. I can't wait to see this on the screen.
That's the one where Han Solo gets frozen or gets
Yeah.
cryoed, right? He's
Yep. Yep.
Jabba the Hutt, and that's the introduction of
In
Yoda,
this
right?
in the snow, the snow planet Hoth,
Yeah,
all those snow scenes with all those the big walker
yeah.
at what do you call them? AT-AT walkers. Um
See, I didn't care for the one with the Ewoks, really.
no, but that one is Return of the Jedi with the Ewoks, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I didn't care for that part. Like, I
Oh, that
didn't
part
like.
of it. Yeah.
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 And the newest one, I really didn't care for Jar Jar Binks. I mean, he just kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was just Darth Maul was cool. I wish he would have been in more of it.
Right.
He was.
Wasn't Darth Maul, wasn't he like he was just the guy that was training them how to do all
Yes,
the martial
yeah,
arts stuff with the lightsabers, and
but
he
he
ended
was
up being the guy.
badass. He was badass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He had a evil look.
Yeah.
That's kind of similar to what happened with. Did you ever see Full Metal Jacket? With
Yes.
that drill sergeant was just intended to train the actor that was going to play that role, and he was like, oh, this guy's just too perfect for that role.
He played that so damn well. I mean, you're like,
Yeah,
holy shit.
yeah.
What is your malfunction, numbnuts?
Man, I was just about to say it. Yep, yeah. That's exactly the line I was thinking of. What is your major malfunction? What is your major malfunction? Uh,
He's like,
private pile.
why aren't you stomping a mud hole in his ass? Sir,
I watched that with my daughter, and I thought, this movie moves at such a slower pace than today's movies. I was like, I don't know if she's going to be that interested in it, but she was
yeah,
kind of shocked when it's like the first part of it, and what you think is a main character going to be a main character to the end is not, or
yeah,
main characters. You lost two main characters like
yeah,
that. That was kind of like a shock, and it really throws you off. It's like, okay, wait, now the story is going with this guy who was kind of a lesser character,
yeah.
and yeah, that
Yeah,
was
Matthew Modine was, I mean, he carried the movie, but he wasn't the strongest character for that. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I
yeah,
thought he wasn't really that strong to be the leading character like that, you know?
yeah, yeah. It did seem like there's a part of me that feels like if you'd have had a certain actor that it would have he would have carried the pain and the hurt from the previous scene where you lost the two other
Yeah.
actors a little
Yeah.
better, instead of just now he's on the next mission and they're
Right.
going
It's like,
to,
oh, well, basic training, well, whatever.
I there was a while there I was on a kick for who's the director, Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick. I was
Yeah.
watching the Shining, and I was watching all these videos like that were talking about his methodology of making movies. But there's like that scene in Full Metal Jacket where they come up to they got to cut through the buildings there where they end up getting hit by the sniper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Just
that wall where they're setting up at that wall to decide what they're going to do next. Apparently, Stanley Kubrick had set up the camera, had marked it moved concrete to make the shot exactly perfect, and then something happened and it got messed up. Somebody moved the markings or something,
yeah.
and he
Yeah.
was not happy, I think, and then had to like redo that whole process, this long process,
Yeah.
just to get the shot just
Yeah.
right.
That
I
was a
mean,
very intense scene. That was a very intense scene. Did
yeah,
you like that
yeah.
movie, Platoon?
Um, I'm not sure
Saving
if
Saving
I
Private.
saw Saving Private Ryan. I liked that was good. That was good. Yeah, I like movies like that. I like movies like that.
I mean, because it seems like they go through a time period where they do a lot of military movies. I liked what was that movie called with Clint Eastwood? Heartbreak.
Heartbreak
Um,
Ridge, is that what it is?
yeah, Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, they go through a period where they do all those kind of movies, and they do all kinds of medieval movies, and then sci-fi. You know, it's just like or the end of the world movies, or stuff like that.
right.
I just think that, like you said, movies are just more dramatical than realistic nowadays,
Yeah,
especially with the computer animation that you can do so much. You just don't really know if that's a computer animated thing or, if, and I guess that's a good thing. You don't know if that's a real shot or if it was made on a computer.
right. Does that make you stop and think, like with what happened with Alec Baldwin, like with all the special effects at your disposal nowadays? It seems like nobody's getting shot. Nobody should be getting shot on a movie set. It just blows my mind that would happen. I mean, do you really? Now, I haven't watched any of that trial or anything, but I don't know if it was a situation where, like, for certain shots, they just insisted on, because you can see it closer. It's got to be a real gun because gun enthusiasts or, the
Right.
audience is not going to believe it. Especially, could you imagine if they had a gun with a little orange thing sticking out of it? Like, that's not going to work. They can't fake that. But
Right, right.
But yeah,
So
that's
I mean,
that's
that was
tragic.
tragic how that happened, but I mean, with all the movies that they've done with close ups like that, you'd think that they would find a way to have a blank, but to be able to, shoot out gunpowder or something
Right.
because it was a western, right? So it wasn't something up to date. So
Right.
they could have
Yeah.
they could have played around with that a little bit. I don't know a lot about it. I just know that supposedly there were blanks in the.
Yeah, they just got them mixed up. It sounds like, I guess, and and I think tried to rush, apparently, from what I've seen some of the clips where it sounds like, there's a clip they show of Alec Baldwin wanting to hurry up and just do another take. Shooting video, I know a little what that feels like when you're on a set, you're shooting something, and when you stop shooting and then you reset, that time, it kills the mood, it kills the motivation and the whatever you got going. So you don't want to stop recording, but at the same time you're aware that it's still recording, so
Right.
reset real quick, or we're wasting resources. But man, when it comes to having the possibility of a when you've got weaponry on the set, it's like
I
you
mean, I
don't
don't know why
don't
they'd
rush.
use live ammunition anyways on any set. You
Well,
get
I
what I'm
think,
saying?
yeah, I don't know if the live ammunition was ever even for the film itself, if it wasn't just for they're out in the middle of nowhere and sometimes
Oh,
take a
like
lunch
for
break and we're
snakes,
going and
yeah.
shooting. It's like, I don't
Oh,
do you really put that's kind of like a stupid thing, like leaving I'm trying to think of like a chemical you wouldn't leave around your grandkids that look like water or look like juice or punch.
right,
You
right,
know, it's like it's some kind of oil or something, and they think it's apple juice. You just don't
right.
do
They
that.
drink it and kills them.
Yeah, yeah,
That was tragic. I remember that. I remember a lot of conspiracies about that. Or anytime something happened these days, getting back to your original thought, what we were talking about a little couple minutes ago is about the fragility of our nation. It's almost like people can't handle any kind of distress, so they
mm,
have to um, have a conspiracy to be able to handle events that are tragic. You know what I mean? Like, I need to not be able to believe this to be able to internalize it. Because if I tell myself it's as tragic as it is, man, I might fall apart. I might not make it through that
right,
initial, grief or whatever. So I'm gonna say, well, it's really not that bad. This happened and that happened. So they're in a better place because of that. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, I mean, I don't want to
Yeah,
get into
isn't
the
it
true
isn't it
crime
like
stuff,
some?
but
But it's like you might have some that when they hear somebody say trigger warning, they duck, they hit the deck, But then others will say, hear that and say, oh, okay, I can handle this. This is
right,
whatever it is, just bring it. But it makes me think of when I was a kid. We had a expression that we all knew. It's like sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And
right,
that's how it was. It's like, yo, you said something, it hurt my feelings a little bit, but that's we didn't instantly go to words like oh, you disrespected me. It,
right.
and then the friends jump in. Well, what are we going to do about this? It's funny. These same people probably didn't aren't all about the legal system, but at that moment they got real legal, didn't they? Oh, well,
Right.
this is
Oh,
there's
we're
a
gonna
there's,
sue you. We're gonna sue
yeah,
you.
there must be consequences, delved
Yes.
out at this point. So
I mean, it's just insane. It's like I believe that our society has become so. It's kind of like that movie Traffic. I think it's Traffic, where he said in the very beginning, he said, sometimes we're in such autopilot, we need to crash. No, it's crash. We need to
mm,
crash into something in order to snap us back into reality. Meaning that we are so desensitized to everything that goes on around us. The only time we really take time to internalize any kind of emotion is when it happens directly to us, or something reaches out and grabs us. Let's say you get cancer, you have a health problem you can't beat, financial issue, then all of a sudden you snap out of it. It's no longer,
Right, right. And it doesn't help like all the, the virus stuff that we went through. I don't want to say the word because I think it can shut your stream off.
yeah, yeah,
But when everybody's isolated and your sense of normalcy is so different. I mean, I can remember in the beginning it was all about, oh my gosh, we've run out of toilet paper and they've run out of toilet paper. And I still remember being in a supermarket and the toilet paper shelf was empty. And I was like, oh man. I thought if I came here like right before they closed, they would have had some. And I started to walk away from that aisle, and then I saw this guy with this cart, not a big cart, just had some of it. And I was like, "Oh man, can I get a couple of those?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, help yourself, help yourself." And then I'm going down towards the eggs and stuff, and I got 2 rolls in my cart. And this woman comes up to me like I'm a rock star. I was like, "Hey, whoa, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?
yeah,
Where'd you
yeah.
find that?" That's like, "Oh yeah, they're just putting them out." I don't think I even finished my sentence. She was already gone. She's like, she saw what direction I was pointing, and she's like, "All right, well, say thank you later. Or
I
say
mean,
thank you to somebody
at
today." But
that, you're right. You're right. It was so crazy. I mean, at that point, I was wondering, does this thing give you the shits or what? Like, you just don't stop shitting? Because I mean, what's with the
right,
toilet paper? I mean, everybody's getting toilet paper. It's like, does
yeah,
this
and the
thing like,
water, the water was hard to come by, and
yeah? But what the
yeah,
necessities that you needed, those were plenty. I
yeah.
mean, other necessities, you could get those all day long, but toilet paper and water,
But I can still remember when there were 15 people in the country that were reported to have had it, and there were talks about this could go like a week. Oh my gosh, a week! This could go a month. A month?
yeah.
Stop there. Don't
Well,
don't.
we're just waiting for the herd immunity, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yes,
And then the whole thing with the masks and everything,
yeah,
and man, talk about like well, it's just like in the true crime community how things can split, into groups.
yeah, yeah,
With the
exactly.
masks, it's split, and it's like, you know,
I mean, if you look at your timeline in life, look at some of the things that you've lived through. That if you sat down and you told people, I lived through the Cold War, I lived through Desert Storm, I lived through, the invasion of Afghanistan, hunting down Bin Laden, 9/11, the 94 bombing, this, that, and the other, people would be like, good God. I
right,
mean,
right,
that'd be enough to traumatize a lot of people these days. They couldn't leave their house because of it.
right, right.
But I remember the Cold War, you used to, which was silly to think about now, but in case of a nuclear war or something, we're gonna get under our little desk and, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
put our hands over our heads and we're gonna kind of hide out. Well, that security was enough to get us through the day. You know what I mean?
right, right,
We were not questioning, well, what about the radiation or what about the blast or what about this and that and the other? Because we didn't know what we didn't know.
right.
And I think that's what we're talking about right now is a lot of times people don't know what they don't know and what they don't know, they fill in the blanks with what they've heard
Yeah,
is the real truth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think too, it when you're trying to fill in those blanks too, isn't it? Doesn't it have to go through this filter of how you normally receive things with as a pessimist or an optimist? And like if you're a pessimist, then I feel for you because it's you've already kind of, if I'm placing bets, I'm placing bets against you that you've lost from the start.
Right,
But if
right.
you're the optimist, that's like, okay, this is the hero of the story, the unexpected hero that you think the odds are against them. So much is stacked against them, and you know, that's the thing too. Maybe we just, you know, we need more movies like that. I know there's still movies like that, but that those movies where it's like, um, you know, you just think that this has got to be it for this character, and
Right.
but they stayed positive, and they kept on
Yeah.
going, and they made it. You know, that's
John
what's so
Wick.
tragic to see. Like, yeah, no, go ahead. I was been
John
been a
Wick.
tangent. You know, I've seen bits and pieces. I gotta sit and down and watch those because that's what's his name, right? The what's the
Keanu
actor?
Reeves. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah.
I love to see the things like, you know, apparently he's kind to people just on a subway.
Yeah.
Um, I did see the video where he was playing music with the band,
Yeah.
and he's a bass player
He's a
performing, and
musician. Yeah.
yeah, and it's he's got such a passion for it too, and just such a
And he does his own
yeah,
gun stunts, like all the gun stuff that are in the movies. He's
yeah,
really an enthusiast. He knows how to work his way around firearms. He's very good with firearms.
uh,
Well, you
yeah. He was
guys, if you've managed to stay this long, it's about an hour and 35 into it. I hope
yeah.
you enjoyed what Jeff and I have discussed about. This is our Monday night podcast. Tomorrow, if you tune in, I was thinking about talking to Jeff maybe about discussing some. I don't know. I had it on my mind, but old age, it kind of just flew out the window just then.
is
Um,
that the subject? Old age? Maybe
Old
that's
age.
it.
Maybe we'll talk about old age and how to be sure you have your Geritol before bed, and I don't even
Yeah.
know if they make that anymore. But you guys leave a comment, if you have a topic that you'd like for us to discuss or you have any suggestions, um, give us an idea. And if you're a member or not a member, but if you subscribe to this channel and you're into the true crime stuff, I think Jeff and I are gonna attempt to do a live on Friday night, possibly between 7 and 8 ish. Um, and we will be discussing some true crime stuff. But until then, we're probably just going to be hanging out as we can throughout this week. I'm going to be
I bet
doing
I
a
know what
podcast.
they would want to see.
Oh yeah.
They probably want to see you go buy a guitar, and then me try to give you a little guitar lesson all over the live stream.
Well, my nephew has an electric guitar. I saw it downstairs. I opened up his door and he has an electric guitar, so I might ask him if I can borrow it.
Uh
And
huh.
maybe tomorrow we can take a couple minutes and you can show me what you got, and then let's see what I can do without the amp. See, hear the dink, dink, dink.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you want
yeah,
to? Are you
we're
interested in
both we're
hearing?
both we're both busy, so I got to get with Jeff to see what his schedule is and how many of these he can attend, and you know come back for the silliness. I mean, we seem to get along very well. We feed off each other very well. We have a good sense of humor and good camaraderie. So if you're enjoying that, be sure to be back. This is
Hey, are
12
you
gauge.
interested in hearing 2 seconds of a little guitar thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I share it with you? Okay, let
Sure,
me
go
share
ahead.
this fast. Share audio. Oh wait, is it not going to play the sound that way? Wait, let me try one more thing. If this doesn't work, that's well. Okay, wait. I think
Can you share it? Like share the
it's
page
got
or
to.
something?
I think to play sound, it's got to be. It's got to be a file that is opened up in Chrome.
Oh, okay.
Wait. I think I can.
It's not
Wait,
copyrighted, right?
two more seconds. Well, it's. I mean, it's me playing an old
Oh,
rock
okay.
song. Now, if I play it so accurately that you get a. I mean, it's. I might be kind of accurate, but I don't think I'm that accurate. Um,
Now, if I get that good, I'm in trouble. Then I'll be getting copyright strikes against myself.
oh, why is it not? Okay, wait. Let me try one more time. If this doesn't work, I did open file and then I went to it. So where is it? I think you know what? I think it just downloaded it. I don't think it played it. We'll try it again. Well, if we ever do a guitar thing, I'll have it figured out how
All
to
right. Well, maybe tomorrow night,
how to
if you're
play
able
that.
to get on again, maybe you'll have it set up and you can show our viewers exactly what it is that you do very well. You know, you do a lot of things very well, obviously with the videography and stuff like that. You know, the true
I
crime stuff.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Um, so hopefully we can get some music going through here and get some topics and everything going on to give us a little break from the true crime. You know,
And like
everybody.
earlier on, didn't you say that you with the music you get the chicks and all that, right? Didn't that come with the? Is that what you're? Is that what you're hoping will
It's
happen?
kind of like sex in prison, guy. You know, the sex you want, you might not get. The sex that you can get, you might not
You might
want.
not want.
Uh,
Yep,
I
yep,
hope
yep.
you guys get my dry humor. Everything I say here is basically my own twisted memory of my childhood. So it kind of levitate to reality sometimes. So please do not get offended. Please keep coming back. If you like what we do, give us a like, subscribe, give us a comment. And Jeff, you got anything closing?
No, that should do it. This has been great. This has been great. I do agree with you. I think we, like the conversation is like a good tennis match, and
Yeah.
not that it's a competition in any way, but that
No.
it's just a joy. It's like, hey, you know, nice serve. Oh, nice volley. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's not a competition because I
yeah.
mean, it is just our thoughts and our beliefs and our life experiences. I'm sure that, somebody will enjoy it.
I think too there are some people that I found, at least in my personal experience, some people can open their mouths and start talking, tell a story, share thoughts and ideas, and I'm connected. I'm there, and
Right.
I like what they're saying. I'm interested, and I remember, and then I can, you know, get into the conversations. We share what we're
Right.
talking about. What you say triggers something for me, and I think, and the same vice versa. But then there's some that they talk, and I think, I start to think about like, man, oh, do I got to do laundry tonight? I think, and like, you drift off, and then you're like, what did you say? I'm sorry, I don't remember what you were talking about.
That
And
was my
I think it's partially me, yeah, that maybe, I drift off. But I think it says something about the person too. It's like they don't have that gift of being able to, like, with words out of my mouth, I'm going to paint pictures in your mind of what I'm talking
right.
about, and you'll be there too, even though you weren't there. And
Right.
yeah, that's a gift, I think, too.
Yeah, really quickly, like I was saying, as far as writing poetry and stuff at a young age, and I'm a visual learner. So basically, some of the stuff that I say, I try to take the viewer or the reader or whoever to be able to see what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the stream, sometimes when I'm talking about something, I break it down so that I can put you right there so that you can go along this journey with me. Because I know a lot of times individuals enjoy being taken along for the journey rather than having to interpret what you're saying. Because sometimes people lose
Yeah,
you. They'll be talking about something, then they'll stop and then they'll jump somewhere else. They'll come back to it and this and that. And by that time, you've lost them.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't think I really received this ability until I became a therapist because I was quite introverted. I didn't really like people. I didn't like to talk to people. I wasn't as um, expressive as I am now, I guess. And, becoming a therapist and you're in front of a crowd of people all the time, you got to make them laugh. You got to make
Right.
them you know, engage with you. You got to build rapport. So, you
Yeah, they
can't be
say things
one
a little
dimensional.
unexpected, just like,
Yeah,
kid, and being able to read the room too, like read, like, okay, this person is finding this a little boring. We got to throw something in there that's like
better
a
throw in a
curve
fart
a
joke or
curveball.
something.
Right, right. Oh man, that was a dog, not me. We like, there's an expression I heard somebody say once that, Like you gotta hear yourself through their ears. If
Right.
that's right, I think I'm saying it right. But so like, because there are some people that they'll say, well, it's the what's something you could say? Well, the impedance of the microphone is just there's an imbalance, and that's all there's to it. And
Right.
then the other person, you can see, I didn't get what you meant, but they just that's all they give you. That's all. Hey, if
Right.
you didn't get
Right.
it, if you didn't get it, it's too bad. It's like I'm really I have so many words that God's given me before I die. I can't waste any extras on you.
Right. Right.
That's it. If you didn't get
Exactly.
it, you didn't get it. It's a shame.
Well, they say men usually have 15,000 words a week that they're able to articulate. So I don't know how many of those words we've used up in 2 days. So, we might not make it to Friday. By Friday, we might just be looking at each other going, ugh,
Right.
ugh.
Maybe we should learn sign language right about now. So we're ready when we can't talk.
Exactly. Well, Jeff, I'm going to close it down. Thank you so much for appearing and coming up and sharing your knowledge, your strengths, hopes, experiences. It's always enjoyable. Hopefully, we get to do this again tomorrow night. If you don't have anything going on, just shoot me a message. Let me know. And for the
Sounds
rest
good,
of
Mark.
you, keep coming back. And, you know, I'm 12 gauge, and this is
Jeff H.
Jeff H. And
Good to
we're
see
out of
you.
here. You guys have a good night.